Hi Aries, so this will be quite a special reading for you today, Aries. This will be all about wish fulfillment and, you know, your heart's desires, your passions, your dreams. You know, what do you wish right now? What does Aries wish for? What are they hoping to accomplish? You know, like I said, heart's desires, you know, being made into a reality, that sort of thing. Or, you know, what do you wish? You know, what does Aries wish for right now? You know, what is your, if you could make one wish right now, you know, what would it be? You know, so we're going to find that out today. Also, this is for Sun, Moon, Rising and Cross Watchers as well. Okay, so I'm really going to tune into energy of the cards now, my guides as well. Okay, so wish fulfillment for Aries. Okay, wish fulfillment for Aries. Okay, what does Aries wish for? What messages do we need to know for Aries within regards to wish fulfillment? What does Aries wish for? What is Aries wishing for right now? Okay. Ooh. Eight of Pentacles. Four of Wands. So you've got Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, and then you've got Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Could be dealing with a fellow fire sign, could be dealing with a water sign. Some of you might be working on a project, you know, being successful. Maybe you're working hard, saving up. Maybe you want to get married, get engaged. Maybe someone's coming home from university, you know. Maybe you're missing your family. Not want to work hard. You are hard workers anyway, but yeah. But this is all about passion, the Eight of Pentacles, and dedication, and, you know, accomplishing your passions and your desires. You know, someone who's very hardworking and dedicated, like I said, passionate, you know, a perfectionist. They provide for their family, they work hard, could be in charge of their own business here. Maybe somebody wishes that they could communicate more here, you know. Okay, Empress. Maybe some of you are hoping to have a baby. Maybe it's a good fertile time at the moment. I do feel here with this Empress, a lot of you are giving birth to new ideas. You know, maybe that's your wish fulfillment as well. You wish that you could be more, you know, creative, and maybe someone wants a better relationship with their mum. You know, like I said, some of you might want to try for a baby, something like that. It could be a very fertile time here. So you could be working on that, you know. Could be celebrating a new project. Potential career prospects here, you know. Some of you could definitely be expecting or finding out you're expecting, or if you're trying, you know, that's your goal achievement right now. Could be giving birth to new ideas, or actually, you know, trying for kids. But yeah, there's lots of scenarios here. Get some more on this Empress. Okay. Seven of Wands, Temperance. Hang on, I want you guys to be able to see. Give me a sec. Okay. So a lot of you, I feel that there's a lot of mastering and balancing going on. Okay, I do believe that because you're you know, you are an Aries, you're headstrong, you are passionate, you stand up for what you believe in, you fight for what you believe in. You know, you've got this sense of adventure, you've got this quality about you, and you've got this sort of, you know, like I said, fighting spirit, sense of adventure. You're passionate, you stand your ground, you set boundaries. Sorry about that, Aries. The dog was barking. I just had to check on him. Okay, so we've got Temperance here. So you're definitely dealing with a fellow fire sign. Then you've got a bit of Taurus. And then you've got a bit of water energy there as well. You could be dealing with the Pisces. I feel this is your energy, Aries. There's definitely manifesting going on, mastering, strength, balance, agility. Someone's definitely doing some sort of healing, some sort of spiritual healing here with this Temperance card. You could be dealing with a Sagittarius. So this is probably what you're hoping to accomplish here. Or this is what you could be doing now, Aries. Boundaries, standing your ground, fighting for what you believe in. You know, you're very headstrong. You know, you are the master of your own craft. You're in charge of your own, you know, life, everything, and you like to let people know that you stand your ground here with this Seven of Wands here. I think this is your energy, this is fire energy, okay? I believe that you don't want anyone to get in the way of your hopes and heart's desires and your passions and your dreams, okay? Also with this Temperance card, it's like someone is doing, there's agility, yeah, but there's strength testing, and it's like someone is doing a bit of this, bit of that, family life, work life. It's like someone's, you know, balancing a lot here. It's like they're multitasking, yeah. There's multitasking going on, but you're definitely being creative here, giving birth to new ideas. I'll get some on this Temperance card for Aries. Get some on this Temperance card for Aries. Ooh. I'm going to go somewhere on this Temperance card for Aries. I feel a lot of you, like I said, yes, loved ones, you know, maybe you're finding it a struggle, some of you, Aries, multitasking, being there for family members, if this is the case, you know, you're finding it a struggle to multitask, you know, and maybe that's why you need to set some boundaries. Also, I feel here you're hoping and wishing that you want to get back to work soon because you're finding it hard to adapt or learn this new way of life, learning a new environment. You know, this is hard to adapt, to adjust. You could be learning to master that within you, you know, but I do believe a lot of you are getting fed up and angry, and maybe you're feeling a bit defensive with people, and you just want to get back to work. And, you know, I definitely feel a lot of you are in charge of your own business. A lot of you could be worried about the economy. You could be worried about the economy, you know, being made redundant, losing your job, things like that. You know, you're worried. And I feel a lot of you just want to get back to work as soon as possible because you're getting frustrated. You know, and angry, and, you know, you feel very restricted and trapped, and you could be learning, like I said, to adapt to this new way of life. This, you know, this Temperance card is really talking to me. I do feel a lot of you feel angry, you know, and you feel trapped, and you, like I said, you just want to get back to work, get back to routine. I feel someone here misses routine. Like I said, you could be giving birth to new ideas, some of you. Maybe you feel that you can't communicate something at the moment, or you're angry that, you know, somebody won't communicate something to you. So you might be wishing that they would communicate more, or that you could be communicative more to people, that you would be heard, that you would be acknowledged, and that you need to, you know, make an announcement. Look, you wish that you could stand your ground more. You could be doing this now. Now, with this Knight of Swords, like I said, I feel a lot of you are raring to go. It's like you're full of energy and you're going to explode. Yeah, you're not used to this way of life, being so tied down and restricted, and, you know, being stuck at home. You just want to get back to work. I feel a lot of you are struggling with routine, you know. Someone's definitely wishing or hoping that they could communicate something to someone more, you know. Maybe if you're wishing that somebody would come in and talk to you, maybe that's this Knight of Swords here. You've got a fellow fire sign there, or a fellow air, sorry, you've got a bit of air energy there. Maybe you wish that somebody would communicate more, be more truthful, let their guard down, you know. Maybe there's a bit of drama going on in the home environment. Okay, hang on a sec. Tell me more about this Knight of Swords. There's definitely a lot of balancing, mastering, strength, agility, you know, mastering, strength and balance. But like I said, learning a new way of life, an environment. There is definitely someone here that wishes and, you know, is yearning for something. It's either to get out of these restrictions and go back to work. You know, they want to get back to how things were before because they're tired of the same old routine and they're struggling. Look, you know, maybe they're defensive against people and shutting people out here. If it's not you, it could be in your home environment here, Aries. But there's definitely someone here that wishes that they could communicate more to something, to a situation, to a home environment. You know, maybe you're afraid to ask your work company if you still have a job, if you are going to be made redundant. Maybe you can't communicate, your throat chakra was closed off, blocked, you know. But you really do miss being outside, you know. Maybe you've got the earth traits, you've got the traits of an earth sign, but you are struggling. Like I said, you're struggling to adapt, you know, to adjust to this new environment, you know, this new way of life. You're not used to it. You know, you're getting fed up. I can feel it. You know, with this 7 of Wands, you feel very angry. You miss stability. Like I said, you miss how things were before. So someone here is either tired of the same old routine, or they want something new, or that, you know, like I said, there's a lot of yearning, hoping. You know, maybe someone's just found out they're expecting and they can't see their family, or they need to tell their family, or their family's far away. You know. But someone here is definitely fed up of routine. Someone could be wishing that somebody would come back from their past. Okay, I'm picking up a lot of energy here. So we've got 6 of Cups. So we've got Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. So Aries, maybe you miss happier times from your childhood. You know, some of you might want to reconcile with a mum that you haven't seen for a few years. She could be overseas. You know, maybe she can't come back because of this restriction. You're not allowed to travel, you know. Or, you know, you are thinking about someone from your past. You want to reconnect with someone from your past. Embracing your inner child. Like I said, going back to happier times. Feeling reminiscent, feeling nostalgic. You know, maybe you're wishing and hoping that somebody from your past will come back and communicate. Because someone is definitely afraid to communicate something here. Yeah. 6 of Cups, you know, you really miss something from your past, someone from your past, a memory. You're tied to something from your past, you know. So somebody from your past could be coming back to communicate, you know, if that's what you're wishing and hoping for. Yeah. Maybe someone's coming back from the past to work things out, but they had to go through a lot of lessons. They had to learn a lot of, you know, discover a lot of things about themselves. They could be coming back in with fast communication. So if that's what if that's what you're wishing for, Aries, you know, that it is very possible. You know, it looks like that's what's going to happen. You know, everything is, you know, divinely orchestrated. You know, you put your faith into the divine, into the universe. You know, someone's definitely, they're learning, or, you know, they could be getting a bit frustrated. Like I said, learning to adapt, to adjust. A lot of balancing going on. Aries are quite headstrong and they like to do things their own way. Like I said, they're not used to so many rules and restrictions, and someone's getting defensive and fed up here. Also with this Temperance card, like I said, it's either tired of the same old routine, or they're finding it difficult to, you know, multitask. You know, or maybe they're learning a new routine, you know. And then the 6 of Cups for Aries. Whoops. Can I get some on the 6 of Cups for Aries, please? I definitely think some of you are hoping to hear from someone from your past. If this is the case, it looks like you've got a water sign or a fellow fire sign coming back. Could be an earth sign, but I think it's a water sign that you are wishing, you know, and hoping to get communication from. You know, definitely someone from the past, a soulmate, and, you know, an old twin flame. You know, there's definitely someone here that had to learn. They had to learn to master something. Maybe someone's learning to master patience. and persevere here, you know. Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So I do feel that if you are hoping to manifest, create, you know, like I said, with this Wheel of Fortune, being the master of your own craft, in charge of your own destiny, standing in your power, look, hardworking, dedicated, passionate, you know. And with this Wheel of Fortune, I do believe, if it's in regards to a home life, it's a work environment, a project, like I said, you know, it looks like it's going to be accomplished. It looks like it's going to be successful. Okay. Now with this Wheel of Fortune, I do believe there is a lot of changes coming in with you, Aries. If you're hoping or wishing for a change, a routine, if you're tired, if you're fed up, you know, the universe is saying, you know, just persevere, just hang on, have patience, you know, it's going to be worth the wait, you know, keep the faith. But I do believe there's a bit of multitasking going on here, bit of this, bit of that, mastering this, but you know, someone's just learning to do something. It's a bit of alchemy, you know. You've got something small and you turn it into something bigger and beautiful, you know. You know, this is about second chances, fortune, things going in your favor, achievement, accomplishments, being in charge of your own destiny, you know, learning, you know. And I do believe that the universe has given you a second chance, you know, with someone. If this is your wish, you know, that someone from your past is coming back, it looks like that's what's going to happen here with this Wheel of Fortune. And the Temperance card is saying, you know, whatever you're hoping for, wishing, yearning, it's going to happen. Okay. You know, someone could have found out they're expecting, you know, maybe there was an outside influence in the past that got in the way of a connection, a mum figure, you know. This could be your energy if you're a divine feminine, you know, you're very creative, in tune with your intuition, in tune with your emotions, you know. She's passionate, she's confident, she's powerful, she's serene, you know, the Empress. She's always very mothering and nurturing. She gives birth to new ideas all the time, very, very creative. She's ruled by Venus, which is all about love and, you know, peace and clarity, and, you know, most of all, like I said, mothering, nurturing. And she's about sexuality as well, you know. It might be a very fertile time for you if you're trying for kids. Okay. Maybe someone was quite cold with their feelings, you know, or you feel left out in the cold, you know. You could have left someone out in the cold, Aries, you know. 5 of Pentacles, you know, and, you know, maybe they're coming back in to put things right. If that's what you're hoping for, wishing for, maybe that's what's going to happen. 5 of Pentacles, you know, someone was either being cold towards someone, you know, or they left them out in the cold, now they want to come back in. Someone from the past, you know, this time round, you know, maybe they had cycles to overcome, you know, they had to put cycles to bed, cycles ending. You know, the Wheel of Fortune is about, you know, what goes around comes around, and I feel that this time they're going to come back around, they're going to come back in from the cold, but maybe they're worried that you're going to leave them out in the cold. Okay, if this is a romantic situation. 5 of Pentacles is about poverty. You know, like I said, I feel that a lot of people are worried about the economy, how it's going to affect the economy, where people can't work and they're losing their jobs, and, you know, so you could be worried about finances, you know, trying to provide for family, if you've got children, you know. But I definitely feel someone might have lost sight of their identity a bit, you know, because the 5 of Pentacles is about feeling lost and alone. You don't know where to turn, you know, they can't see that the universe is on their side. Someone could be coming back with very fast communication, someone from the past, okay. Maybe they're going to propose, get engaged, you know, really wanting to work things out. Someone here is very passionate and fiery, could be your energy. Okay, it looks like there's going to be a second chance here to put something right, Aries. And I do feel that deep down in your heart, You always knew that this person would come back. So it's like, if they did leave you out in the cold, they're going to come back in from the cold. Okay, it doesn't have to be a love situation. But I do pick up a bit of sort of romantic nature here. Now you've got the star, you've got Aquarius energy. So maybe, you know, you're hoping that the world will be healed soon. Okay, that's what you're wishing and hoping for. Look, keep the faith. Yeah, cycles, phases, ebb, flow, yin yang. You know, you could be a very spiritual person. Maybe you're consulting with your ancestors. So I pick up someone here that's very worried about the economy here. You know, it's like there's a lot of multitasking, juggling going on as well. And like I said, just giving birth to new ideas. Someone could be tired of routine, being stuck at home, or they miss routine, getting back into the swing of things, you know, being in charge of their own business sort of thing. You know, they just want to get back to some sort of normality, and that's why the star card is there. It's just saying, have faith, you know, stay hopeful. The world is being healed. Powerful changes coming in, better things are coming. You know, someone from the past could be coming back. It could be a fire sign here with this Knight of Swords to communicate something. You know, they're going to stand their ground. Look, someone here is very adventurous, big on traveling, military background. Maybe they want to come back and heal a connection with you. Someone here could like a fuller figured woman. Okay, but I do believe that someone, if it's not you, it'll be who you're dealing with. Work environment, home environment, romantic nature. Aries, with this star card, it's like someone had to do healing, or they had to learn. You know, they're mastering sort of healing waters, you know, healing energies, you know, dealing with the ebb and the flow, like I said. You know, I do get a sense that if it is a romantic nature, somebody was sort of in and out. It could be this past person, you know, but it's like they're coming back this time to put things right. You know, something's going to go in your favour here. Okay, wish upon a star. You know, this is about wish fulfillment as well. You know, the star card. You know, yes, remaining hopeful and keeping the faith. You know, maybe someone needs to restore their faith in humanity here. You know, maybe they're fed up. All these bad things keep happening in the world. And I think I picked this up when I did a reading for Aries last time. You know, maybe someone's questioning, you know, their faith, what their spiritual beliefs, you know, and feeling left out in the cold, lost, you know, poverty, homeless, you know, people struggling because they can't work to provide for their family. You know, there's definitely someone here who's in charge of their own business. Sorry, Aries, I had to pause it. I can't concentrate. With the dog keep barking. I don't know what's wrong with him. He just keeps barking and barking and barking, driving me mad. Okay, as I was saying, I feel that someone here needs to restore their faith in humanity. Okay, you know, we all feel like that. We all wish we could go back to happier times. I do feel that you've been feeling like this for a long time. Like I said, defensive, angry, frustrated. You miss routine. You know, you want to get back into the swing of things, normality. You know, there is definitely someone here coming back from your past. Maybe it could be a business proposition. You know, you're going to go into business with someone, an investor. You know, but someone here is kind of struggling and feeling angry and frustrated, being stuck at home. You know. But the Wheel of Fortune and the Star there is saying, you know, just persevere. You know, someone could be learning, look, to master patience. You know, they're learning, you know, to adapt. You know, they're focused. Look, someone here is definitely a hard worker and a bit of a perfectionist. You know, working on a project, manifesting, like I said, heart's desires into reality. And like I said, the Star card is all about wish fulfillment as well. You know, wish upon a star. Something here is definitely going to go in your favour this time round. Look, something's going to come back around and it's going to go in your favour, Aries. Okay, I definitely feel if it's a fellow fire sign or an air sign or a water sign, someone's coming back in from the cold. Someone from the past that wants to talk to you. Get some more star cards. Maybe they're afraid of being left out in the cold. You could be standing your ground. You could be setting boundaries here. I do feel that your main concern at the moment here, Aries, is the economy and, like I said, work, projects, finances, family. Okay, hang on a sec. I want you guys to be able to see. We've got the Hierophant, and then we've got the Five of Swords. Okay, Aries, so you could be, it could be you, or it could be someone that you're dealing with. It could be the fact that someone's coming back that wants to sort of commit to you, you know, be more serious. They've got moral values here, you know, with this Hierophant. Someone here is definitely very spiritual. You know, it's like they're wise in their old age sort of thing, you know, that saying. This is kind of like a spiritual teacher, you know. This person, maybe they had to learn, you know. Again, someone that's connected with ancestral. I'm picking up someone that's got ancestral beliefs, spiritual beliefs, consults with the higher power. You could be very spiritual. You could do spiritual work. It could be your person. I do feel this person, you know, is finally going to surrender and admit defeat to something and cut their losses and walk away. Or it's surrendering to the divine, you know. If someone here feels angry and frustrated and fed up, the universe has stepped in to send you a message to say just to let go, you know. Things will happen in divine timing, you know. Just to surrender, you know. Also, this could be someone coming back from the past to communicate, open up their throat chakra, to finally, you know, commit to a situation, whether it be a work project, whether it be a romantic project. They're going to surrender, look, and accept, you know, admit that this is their destiny. This is who their heart's desire is, their wish fulfillment. You know. But there is definitely someone here that wants commitment, something serious. You know, they're very dedicated. Look, maybe they want to work things out with you if this is a romantic nature. There's a bit of everything in this reading, Aries, but I do feel that if that's your heart's desire, that's your wish fulfillment, to reconcile with someone from your past. It looks like they're coming back, but you could have your guard up, you know, maybe you're being cold, you know, towards them. You're setting boundaries, you're standing your ground, you know. You could be sort of closed off, you're protecting yourself, defense mode. You know, maybe this person's worried that if they come back that you're going to leave them out in the cold, that you're not going to want to know, you know, and it's like you're refusing. Maybe it's because you've got moral views, you know, it's your pride, it's your principles. This is about principles as well, you know, until you like people that you can trust. You know, and once Aries makes up their mind, that's it. You know, it's going to take a lot for someone to change that. You know, like I said, this is about principles as well. You know, you're very headstrong, you know, Aries, and I definitely feel that you're not going to let your guard down very easily with this person, if this is the case. Can I get some of this Five of Swords? You know, get some of this Five of Swords. Someone definitely wants to commit to something, you know, someone might want to get married, get engaged. Okay, we've got the Moon. Yeah, so it's like someone's got a lot of fears and, you know, doubt in a situation. You know, maybe you're afraid to open up to someone because you think that, you know, they're going to come and mess with your head, leave you out in the cold again. You're definitely dealing with a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Then we've got Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. I feel a lot of you're dealing with someone from your past. Maybe you wish that they don't come back, you know, maybe you don't want them to come back, maybe you don't want them to communicate. But because of my throat chakra sort of closing off just there, I feel that whether it's you or the other person, someone wants to communicate something but they don't know how to. Someone's definitely got their guard up, Aries. With this Moon card, it's like someone can't see past what's real and what's not. You know, someone could be hiding, harbouring their feelings with, you know, there's a lot of fears. You know, maybe someone is scared to communicate something. You know, and with this Seven of Wands, I feel that's your energy. Like I said, you're in a sort of defense mode there. You know, You know, someone's definitely hiding their feelings, you know, not being truthful, not opening up, you know, not saying who they are, revealing their identity. Maybe they're afraid to reveal their identity because they're afraid that you're going to tell them to go away, like you're quite closed off. With this Knight of Swords, I do pick up sort of in and out sort of energy. You know, the lack of maturity and the lack of honesty from this person, I feel that it caused you to be very frustrated, you know, because you know, because Aries like people that they can trust and who that they can rely on, you know. They don't like people that are false and that, you know, that, like I said, they're not truthful, you know. You really have got sort of principles and moral values here, and spiritual beliefs here as well, you know, that maybe they finally are going to reveal their true identity, reveal who they are, come back, you know. Maybe you're not aware of this knowledge at the moment. It could be you, Aries, you're full of fear, you know. Tell me about this moon. Yeah, someone is afraid here. Because of my voice as well, where I kept clearing my throat. It's like if you're hoping that someone from the past will come back, or you're wishing, or you know, whether you are wishing or not, there is definitely someone here that wants to talk to someone. Okay. And they're afraid to surrender to the connection, you know, surrender to the divine, admit defeat, you know. It's like maybe someone's resisting something, you know, they're fighting it. It could be you, because you don't trust them, you know. They could have kids with someone if they're in a karmic situation. Now, with the Five of Cups and the Moon, I definitely feel someone is sad. You know, there could be alcohol, reliant on something, you know. Like I said, someone is sad, tired, fed up. It's like someone is scared to reach out because they fear that it's over, or they're going to be left out in the cold. You know, something is still not being brought to light here. But with the Star and the Wheel of Fortune, I feel that that's, you know, I feel that's a message from the universe, you know, saying, just hang on, you know, or give it a chance, you know. And with this Five of Cups as well, I just feel someone is sad or feeling regretful about something. Maybe they went into a third party situation. Because the Moon card is about illusion, fears, what's real, what isn't, you know. Someone's struggling to reach out to someone, make a decision, a conscious decision, you know. Someone could be very closed off with their feelings. Maybe someone's lack of honesty is making someone sad. You know, there's definitely alcohol dependency here. And more about this Five of Cups and this Moon card. I feel someone can't get their words out. That's what it is. That's what's frustrating you, the lack of communication from this past person, I feel. Okay. But I'm definitely tuning into someone's fears and uncertainty and confusion. Someone's full of fear. Someone's got a bit of a frightened ego thing going on. Someone here, it's like they don't know what's beyond the two pillars. I feel this is your person's energy. And I feel this is your energy with the Seven of Wands. You know, you're really standing your ground here. You're setting boundaries. You're protecting yourself. You know. Okay. Maybe somebody wants to reveal their hidden truths to you, you know, but they don't know how to reach out. Okay. Okay. So we've got the Justice card. Okay, so because of, yeah, right, so because of this Wheel of Fortune, right, so because of this Wheel of Fortune and the Justice card, Yeah, this makes sense. I think this came up for you last time, Aries. I definitely feel that you've got the traits of an air sign. Because of this Seven of Wands and this Justice card, okay, I do feel that someone here is standing their ground, setting boundaries, standing in their power. Okay, they're all about the truth and fairness and justice. Okay, and I do believe that someone is being sharp with their words and, you know, being cold towards someone. Why do I feel this is you, Aries? Okay, you could be dealing with a Libra, or you could have the traits of a Libra, because this is Libra's card. Okay, also someone here, you know, maybe they're healing from past pain, past hurt. Someone could have lied about being pregnant, that sort of thing. Okay, you know, wow, this person can't get their words out. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear here. You know, and I just feel that someone is serving some sort of karmic justice. Okay, I'm really struggling to get my words out here. Someone here is full of frightened ego. That's what I keep hearing. I'm really tuning into someone's, if it's not yours, it'll be who you're dealing with. Whether it be a home environment, work environment, or a romantic nature. Okay, there is someone here that is, you know, scared to surrender to a connection. You know, they're scared to cut their losses. It could be you. It's like you're refusing. I think there's something to do with values and morals. Look, maybe you feel that this person hasn't got any morals, they haven't learned their lesson. But because the Justice card just came out, and then you've got the Wheel of Fortune there, something's come around, and something's come back around and bit this person on the backside. Some sort of karmic justice has come back on them, you know. Whether it be that they said or did something to upset you, they went in a third party situation, but you don't trust this person and they're feeling sad. Okay, maybe they feel that something is too late to put right. Okay, because this is about morals as well, standing up for what you believe in, you know. Maybe something's going to be revealed to you. I felt that with this Moon card, you know, some sort of revelation, some sort of hidden truths, you know. Maybe you're going to put this person in their place because you don't trust them. And as I said, Aries, they're very headstrong. Once they've made up their mind, that's it. It's going to take a lot for you to change an Arian's mind. Okay, and I do believe that someone here has got principles, you know, they've got, like I said, moral values, you know, and it's what they believe in. Look, you know, this person is definitely weighing up their possibilities, you know, weighing up the pros and the cons here. This could be you, you know, before you let your guard down, before you decide you want to talk to this person, you know. Someone here could be quite stubborn, yeah, but someone here is definitely serving some sort of karmic justice here, definitely. Something's come back on them, you know. I keep hearing principles and moral values, that's what I keep hearing, you know. I do feel that someone here wants to do the right thing, if it is a romantic nature, if it is a past person. You know, maybe you hoped and wished that you would stand your ground and set boundaries, you know. Maybe you had to find the strength to do that, learn that, master that, you know. Maybe somebody needs to heal themselves, you know, heal any trauma that they have from the past, or pain, or something like that, you know. They could be trying to contact you on the 5D, Aries, but because you're so closed off and guarded, you know, maybe they don't know how to reach out. Look, they feel stuck. Some sort of revelation is going to come out here. I do feel that, like I said, something has come back and bitten someone, and, you know, they're just not happy. There's genuine remorse here. There's genuine regret. Okay, this person's sad. They could be relying on alcohol to block out their feelings, or, you know, block out what's going on around them, such as a home environment, the world. You know, this person is kind of a glass half full sort of person. It's like justice has come back and just, like I said, just bit this person on the backside for what they've done. It's come back and it's bitten them. Like I said, maybe this person hasn't learnt their lesson yet, and that's why the Five of Swords is there, because someone here is not admitting defeat. They're not apologizing, they're not saying sorry if they've done something wrong. You know, you could just be focused on finances, stability, home environment, providing routine, you know. But yeah, someone here is definitely going through some sort of painful truth. Okay, hang on a sec. I think this came up for you last time, Aries. Right. Maybe someone's went into a third-party situation and now they regret it. You know, maybe there's a female competitor here. You've got the Empress. You know, if it's not you, it will be who you're dealing with or what's going on in the world. There's a lot of pain and suffering and heartbreak going on. Someone here's got a guilty conscience. They're full of sorrow. So you've got the Ten of Swords and the Three of Swords. You're definitely dealing with an air sign or a water sign or a fire sign. But like I said, some sort of painful truth, painful revelation has been revealed to someone here, and they're sad. If you was hoping for karmic justice to be done and, you know, for karmic justice to be served, it has been served. Considering how much, you know, pain this person's in. And it looks like, you know, some sort of painful ending has happened here as well. Maybe this person in the past broke your heart. Maybe someone had to heal their heart here. Look, could be you, Aries. Maybe you had to heal your heart. If this person lied, if they cheated, if they went into a third-party situation, it looks like it came to a sort of an abrupt, painful ending. This person might have caused you backstabbing, betrayal, heartache, third-party situation. Look, yeah. And maybe they had to, you know, heal themselves, you know, heal their heart. You had to heal your heart, you know. But this person's really suffering, you know, consequences of their actions here, you know. And someone here is just very, very sad. And like I said, painful truths. You know, they've learned a very painful lesson here. Someone could have gone into a third-party situation and now they're full of regret. Okay, maybe they've cut their losses and they've walked away from a third-party situation. Okay, with this Five of Swords. You know, someone here is definitely wanting to reach out to someone and communicate to them, but they're afraid of being left out in the cold because they left you out in the cold in the past and it come to some sort of painful ending in the past. Something happened. They did you wrong. I know that because I'm picking up they've got pain from their past here. It could be you. You're guarded, you're protecting yourself, your heart is closed off, you don't trust this person. Like I said, you're setting boundaries and you're standing your ground, you're in defense mode. Look, Seven of Wands, because you don't trust this person. Look, it's a principles thing, it's a value, moral values, you know. You've got spiritual beliefs, you've got religious beliefs, you know, and I feel that regardless whether they've ended things or they've cut their losses or they've suffered pain within being in a third-party situation, it's going to take a lot for you to trust this person again, Aries. And I just feel that even if they come back and try and put things right with you, you're very closed off and, you know, you're not having it sort of thing. You really are standing your ground. Maybe you're focused on other things. But, you know, someone could be afraid to give someone another chance. Someone could be afraid to open up their heart again, you know, because they don't want to go through the same pain and heartache. Someone definitely suffered a broken heart here. They had to heal. It took a long time, you know, that someone really showed their resilience here. It took them a long time to go through healing, work on self-love, put themselves back together, create some sort of structure, balance, routine for themselves. I feel that's you. And I just feel that you are closed off, guarded, and you're protecting your heart from this past person. They do feel very left out in the cold. They feel lost. They feel lonely and they feel full of regret. You know, it's like someone's just letting their life pass them by here, that they can't bear to look at themselves. You know, there's definitely so much fear and pain. You know, it could be you. Maybe you wish that this person would not come back and just leave you alone. You know, wow. There's someone here that definitely suffered betrayal, some sort of broken heart, some sort of painful ending, and painful truths and painful revelations that are going to come to light, or that you found out. that they were in a third party situation. They left you out in the cold, and that is why you're so guarded and closed off, and you're standing strong, you're standing in your power, you know, you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your heart. You could be still healing from this past hurt with this Star card, okay, because the Star card is about healing as well, okay. You know, maybe, like I said, you're just focused on your profit, your stability, your home environment, routine, gaining some sort of, like I said, some sort of balance. You know, you don't want this person to come along and sort of mess with your head and okay. Guess around this 3 and 10 of Swords. It looks like if this person was in a third party situation, it looks like it's come to a completion. You know, they've cut their losses and walked away, but it looks like it come to a very painful ending, you know. Maybe they weren't happy where they were, or somebody was manipulating someone with kids, fake pregnancies, you know, but this person, they could have left some out in the cold, you know, and now they're on their own, and like I said, they're just drowning in sorrow and guilt and serving some sort of karmic justice, you know. What goes around comes around, you know. But the third party situation has definitely come in between you and someone. I think this came up last time as well. Okay. Oh. Yeah, this could be a twin flame or a soulmate. Okay. I'll tell you what, Aries, I'll put this up as July's reading. I was going to put all the signs wish fulfillments, but like I said, I connect to energy, so this looks like a bit of general, but mainly what's going on with who you're dealing with. So I'll put this up as July. Okay, so we've got the 2 of Cups. Someone is definitely heartbroken, feeling sad and feeling that it's over with you, Aries. They want the 2 of Cups with you, they want to reconcile with you. Definitely a water sign from your past. Okay, I'm picking up strong water energy, Leo or an air sign. Could be any sign. But someone from your past wants to come back, heal a connection, tell you how they feel, but they're afraid to reach out. Like I said, there's a lot of subconscious fears going on, a lot of illusion, frightened ego, but you're so closed off, Aries. I don't feel that it's going to be easy for this person to reach out. This could be in their heart space, you know, visualizing this reconciliation, this union, you know, where someone definitely wants to come back from the past, put things right, say sorry, do the right thing. You know, maybe they've got moral values, maybe they've learned a painful truth, a painful lesson. They want to work things out, but they're afraid that you're going to leave them out in the cold. Okay, this could be your energy, divine feminine energy there. She's beautiful, she's powerful, she's creative, she's serene, she's nurturing, she's loving. I do feel this person's very, very regretful and wishes that they went with you in the first place, that they didn't go into a third party situation. But it does look like they have served their karmic justice. They are paying for their mistakes and bad choices. They've learnt some sort of painful truth, painful revelation. A lot of what's holding this person back from communicating is fear and frightened ego. Okay, they can't seem to get a grasp on reality at the moment. I don't think they're sober at the moment. I think they're just drowning. Alcohol dependency there, you know. And more about this 2 of Cups. Someone's definitely craving someone's attention, passion, affection, love, that sort of intimacy there, you know, this sort of strong soulmate twin flame energy, togetherness, you know. It's like they want to reconcile with you, and you're so closed off, you could be blocking them. Yeah, it's like you're saying no. Like I said, principles, moral values there, you know. You've got strict beliefs, you know, and that's why they're not communicating, because they're afraid that you've moved on, you're with someone else. You know, and I do feel this person feels lonely at the moment, you know. They feel alone. The Hermit, so you could be dealing with a Virgo, okay. They feel lonely. They feel sad. They feel out in the cold. So basically everything that you felt, I feel that this person is, you know, painful lesson. They really have or are learning a painful lesson. They do want to, you know, gain momentum, gain clarity, go within. Maybe that's what they're learning, to sober up, to go within, listen to their own voice, tap into their intuition. They could be on a journey, you could be on a journey, but they do want to bring light to the situation, okay? They do see you as a wish fulfillment. They do see you as a wish upon a star, okay? And with this Hermit card, this person's very isolated and lonely at the moment, I feel. You know, the Hermit goes it alone. He goes on a spiritual journey. He's got spiritual beliefs. He's very wise, you know, and like I said, just wanting to go it alone and sort of gaining clarity, but, you know, very in tune with himself, reflecting, thinking. This person tends to overthink a situation. You know, they tend to overthink, and then it causes them all this worry and fear and doubt and anxiety. Okay. Don't worry about this Hermit card. I do feel they are being intuitively guided. They could be embracing their spiritual side. They could be embracing their intuition, you know, spiritual beliefs. Someone does want to do the right thing here. They really do. They could have left a third party out in the cold. I do believe someone here is on a spiritual journey. There's spiritual development here. There's spiritual awakening here. You know, maybe in the past there were, a fall in love. A fall in love, yeah? Foolish, immature. But it does look like someone here has taken the leap of faith. Whether it be you, Aries, or whether it be your person. But they want to take the leap of faith and pursue you, pursue this connection, come towards you, you know, be spontaneous. They're full of willpower. But they do need to clear that fear at the moment, you know. I feel they've been isolated for quite a long time, but they are going to come out of hiding, okay? They are going to bring light to this situation, you know, bring truth and clarity to the situation. Because of the Justice card and the Moon, there is definitely going to be something being revealed to you, Aries, okay? Some sort of truth, some sort of clarity, revelations are going to be revealed to you. You know, if those of you that are going through a divorce, a separation, you know, divorce proceedings, maybe you want to go alone, start a new chapter. You've got the Wheel of Fortune, the Three of Swords, so something's going to go in your favour. A divorce settlement, financial settlement, legal agreements, signing contracts. So something's going to go in your favour here, Aries, okay? This could be you. Maybe you're cutting your losses and walking away. You want a new start. You've had enough. You don't trust them. Okay? Such as, you know, as this lockdown is lifted, maybe you want to go travelling. Maybe you want to go it alone. Okay? Maybe you're fighting off fears. You know? Don't be scared to embrace change. Embrace your spiritual side. You know, it's like your senses have sort of expanded, developed. You know, maybe you're going to study, maybe someone's going to university, you know, going back to school here, yeah. But as in regards with this person that wants to come back from the past, I do feel they miss you very much. You know, it took them a long time to realise their love for you, their feelings, feeling very regretful if there was a third party situation, you know, and just feeling out in the cold and lost and serving some sort of painful karmic justice here, you know. Now with this Hermit card, this person sort of had to be by themselves a little bit, you know, solitude, their own little sort of isolation, sanctuary sort of thing to go within. You know, all the answers you seek are within you, you know. You have the power, you know. And it could be you as well, Aries, you know, you're feeling isolated, you're feeling sort of sad, trapped, restricted, you know, you miss your own routine, you know, not the routine that the world has put on us, this restriction. You miss your own routine here. Okay, now with this Fool, I do feel someone could be struggling to accept change or embrace change, you know, to have this new beginning. It could be your person, you know, we have got the Temperance card there. So maybe they're struggling to adapt to this new life, you know, embrace change, you know, they're learning patience, they're learning healing, mastering strength and balance, you know, and I see this as the Two of Cups as well. They really want to work this out with you, you know, they want a second chance, they want to heal this connection, you know, and give you some sort of commitment, some sort of realness this time, you know, something solid, something genuine. They do see you as a twin flame. I do feel someone here is going to take the leap of faith here, Aries. This is similar to the last reading, I think. And also, it's like they're going where the sun takes them. They're following their heart. You know, this could be you. Maybe you're saying something new, please. I don't trust this person. Their lack of honesty frustrates you. They're going to go into a third party situation. They've got people around them. Someone here is definitely afraid to communicate something, or they're struggling to communicate something. Maybe someone's afraid to reveal something about their sexuality, you know. They do want to work things out with you, but it's just you're very closed off, and maybe you're blocking them out. Because if you are twin flames, you are the same person, you know, mirroring, you know. This person has a lot of fears to overcome still. Maybe they're still doing strength testing here, you know. But someone is really learning and mastering strength, agility, balance, you know. Also, I feel with this star card, someone needs to heal a broken heart. Whether it was to do with a past, whether it was to do with outside influences, a mum, you know. Someone's healing their heart, you know. The universe is on your side. They're always there for you. You just have to tune in, you know. You know, but in divine truth, I would say that this person is holding back out of fear and frightened ego. You know, I feel that you're saying something better, please, something new. You know, they want a second chance. Whether you want to talk to them, give them a chance, that's up to you. But there's been a lot of betrayal and heartbreak and loss, especially from the past. So if somebody from your past is coming back, Aries, you know, they do struggle with commitment and change. This has been going on since the past, I'd say 6 months, 6 years, you know, 10 years, 10 months, you know. This has been going on for a while, sort of repetitive. But they definitely have closed out some sort of painful cycle in their life, you know. And a lot of the reason why they don't reach out is because it's a fear of being rejected, being left out in the cold. You're, like I said, you're standing strong, you know, because at the bottom of the deck, look, you've got the Page of Swords. So you've got your guard up here, Aries. You don't trust this person. You're closed off. You've got your wits about you. You're being vigilant. You know, this person has made you quite paranoid. Your heart is guarded and closed off. Standing your ground, setting boundaries. Also, they could be watching your social media. Maybe they're getting ready to let their guard down. Change direction. Yeah. Quite stubborn, whoever you're dealing with. Could be you. You know, Aries can be stubborn. Like I said, when their mind is made up, that's it, you know. That someone here needs to heal their broken heart. Because I feel someone here suffered a broken heart. And painful karmic justice has come back on whoever you're dealing with. They want the Two of Cups with you. They want to reconcile with you, tell you how they feel, declare their love for you. But a lot of what is holding them back is subconscious fears. They can't seem to make a conscious decision, you know. Someone has trouble letting things go and, you know, surrendering and cutting their losses. It took this person a really long time to walk away from a third party situation, you know, for whatever outside influences was interfering with you and your person. You know, someone's very paranoid, they've got their wits about them, you know, they're very defensive. They don't trust people, and that's why they're so closed off here. Whether they want to take the leap of faith towards you, you know, they've got their work cut out for them. You know, they've got a lot of making up to do here. They have to put things right. They have to heal this connection. You know, they have to face the consequences of their actions. They can't hide anymore, sort of thing. You know? But as I said, Aries, whether you want to give them another chance, whether you want to talk to them, forgive them, let them in your life again, that is completely up to you. Choice and free will. Okay? Choice and free will. But with some of you, Aries, you know, you might give them a chance because there's Two of Cups. But you're going to set some boundaries. You're going to say, you know, don't come next to me if you're still in a third party situation. If you've got other people around you, other men, other women, you're going to, you know, say to them, you know, I don't want anything to do with the past. I just want to go forward. I want to have a new start. You know, this person especially, they want this new start with you. Look, you know, fresh start, fresh perspective, you know, because the Fool is all about new starts, you know, new beginnings, embracing change, being spontaneous, you know. Maybe they're holding back because they're respecting your boundaries, or, you know, they've got respect for you, and that's why they're holding back. They know you're angry, you know, that's why they're afraid. Yeah, but there's definitely going to be someone from your past who's going to try and come back here, Aries, to put things right with you, to say sorry, to help mend the damage that they've done, if this is the case. You know, the universe is giving this person a second chance, and they don't want to mess it up. Yeah. They've had to learn a lot of painful truths and painful lessons, you know. It's really, really come back on them. You know, there's a lot of mastering going on, a lot of multitasking, you know, to learn this and learn that, you know. Someone here really struggles with change and learning to adapt. You know, there could be still cycles and phases, moon phases going on in their life, you know. But because of the Wheel of Fortune and the Justice and the Star card, you know, I do think that whatever you're hoping for and wishing for and craving and yearning, you know, it looks like that's what's going to happen here. Your wishes are going to be fulfilled. Heart's desires. And whatever you're working on, keep going, persevere, okay? Because of the other cards that came out as well, I just feel that whatever your goal is and whatever you're trying to accomplish, it's going to be worth it. Keep going. It's going to be worth it. Just keep persevering, you know. Manifesting your heart's desires into reality. Maybe you will open up your heart to love again one day. But at the moment, I feel that your main focus is routine, environment, you know, money, you know, family, you know. I just feel that your heart is completely blocked and closed off. You're protecting yourself, like I said. Standing your ground, setting boundaries, you know. You're very angry with someone. I feel angry because the Seven of Wands is about anger as well. You could be still healing from this past betrayal. You know, the Three of Swords is about betrayal as well. This person could have made you very paranoid, you know, that you feel that you've betrayed yourself, you feel that you've betrayed your family, you know. This person could have been emotionally manipulating, you know. You could still be healing from past traumas, from heartache, from pain, you know, still healing your heart. You know, it took you a long time, you know, to build yourself back up. You sort of built a wall around you, you know, and you just want to make 100% sure that you can trust this person, Aries, before you let them back into your life. Yeah? Because you're not sure whether you can trust them again, because they broke this trust. You know, you opened yourself up to someone and like I said, they broke your trust. They sort of betrayed your trust. You know, this person, it looks like they make it very, very hard for you to trust them. And that's why there's so much fear here. You know, you're afraid to open up. You're afraid to get hurt again. You don't want to get your heart broken again. You don't want to be in a third party situation again. You know, it looked very, very stressful, you know. And that's why you're so sort of vigilant and angry and, you know, observant with everything and everyone, because you don't know. You know, it's like you can see right through people, you know, straight away, whether you can trust them or not. So whether you give them another chance, that's up to you, you know. But I do feel someone here is dying to communicate something to someone, okay? There's definitely going to be some sort of truth here, coming to light, being revealed. But with the Hermit card there as well, it's like you need to go within, you know, Be by yourself, go within, and the answers come to you, okay? The answers that you seek are within, okay? Any truth, any guidance, any answers, it's all within you, okay? You just have to tune in, you know, tap into your intuition, tap into the universe, tap into the divine, okay? You just have to learn how to master things and tune into things, you know? The ball is in your court here, Aries, okay? The ball is in your court. Is it back to the past? Is it second chances? Is it forgiveness? Someone might be learning to forgive someone. Or is it something new? That's very much up to you. Choice and free will. This is about choice and free will as well, this Wheel of Fortune. Yeah? Second chances. This time round, you know, what's it going to be? Choices, decisions. Yeah? Alright, Aries, so that was a nice long one today. I really felt that the universe wanted to get a lot of messages out from my guides. Okay, there's someone that struggles with communication there as well. Quite a powerful, strong reading today, very powerful energies. Okay, I hope it resonated, I hope it helped, I hope it was insightful. If you're new, give me a like, give me a subscribe, join my channel. And yeah, and I'll see you guys again real soon. Take care, sending you all peace, love and blessings. Bye, Aries.